How you doing, guys? Eric from RuleTheWasteland.com. We're gonna do a little experiment today, and we're going to pretend like we're deep into a shit hit the fan scenario. As you can see, I haven't shaved in 8 months to make it more realistic. And let's just say this, we're, like I said, months into a shit hit the fan scenario. We're down to where you have to recognize the utility and usefulness of every resource. Just like the Indians did, you have to use every part of the buffalo, even the poop.
No one told you to use the poop.
And one of the things that I've thought about before that you might have to do in an emergency is for various lighting, what would you use for lamp fuel, to make candles. And I've seen other people ask too, what can you use the wax on cheese? Can you make a candle out of that? Is it really wax? Is it real wax? Is it the same? It's definitely wax, so my guess is that it'll probably work. So we're gonna do a little experiment with these Baby Bell cheese. All right, so first of all, I'm gonna have to go ahead and move my AR-15 piston. So then, of course, the next step is to eat all this cheese. All right, so we got a big bowl of cheese. Probably gonna snack on some of that. Then we have a bunch of the wax, and I have me a little wax string that I will use as a wick. And with my guess is that I'm not planning on like melting this completely and pouring it into a mold. This cheese is, or this wax, this cheese wax is very like malleable, and it warms up pretty easily. It's not hard like most candle wax. So my guess is that I'm just gonna soften it up in the sun oven, and then I can probably just wrap it around this wick. So I have it on this parchment paper so it won't burn or anything. Pop it in the sun oven for a few minutes, and then I'll just wrap it around this wick because like I said, it's super soft. It's not like dry and crumbly like a lot of candle wax. So my guess is that it will burn, but will probably burn really quickly. So now we wait. All right, so that was like 3 minutes. Probably ready. Sticking to this a little bit worse than I had anticipated. But we should still get enough. Man, it's already so warm. Looking back, I probably would have just done this without heating it, because you can, with a few minutes of kneading, you can get it into a big ball like this anyway. Let's get our little wicky wick. And you could use a scrap of cotton material, t-shirt or something. Try to make this like a little volcano looking guy. Now, if I was really trying to do this in an emergency, I would probably put a little more effort into this and not make it look like a fresh turd. Bruh. But I really just want to see how this kind of wax melts. Beautiful. We will now put this guy in the fridge next to an excessive amount of meat and give him a few minutes to cool off. And I know you guys peeped the stag back here. These things are great. I will put a link in the description. I didn't even think about these. They're actually made for pet food a lot of times, but if you're only gonna eat part of a can at once, because I'll take like a big chunk of ground lamb or ground beef and mix it in with half a can of this just to keep the carbs down, since it's not emergency time yet. And then instead of dirtying up a Tupperware, you just pop one of these bad boys on there, and then for at least for a day or two, you know, it's good. So link in the description for those things. We'll be back for you in a minute, you turd thing. All right, so here's my majestic turd candle. And like I was saying, like you want to have a waxed string or waxed piece of material, or it'll take a lot longer to start working, even if the wax does work. And honestly, with the wick that I had, I could have probably made 3 candles out of that. Could have used that size wick, but. And I definitely anticipated that happening, so. Not surprising because the wax wasn't. So I crowded the wick a little bit, but pretty sure that settles it. Well, I think that answers the question, fellas. You definitely can use cheese wax to make a candle in an emergency. I don't recommend making one as hideous as this. Like I said, this is way too much wax for that wick, especially once it gets down to about here. I would make it probably half as much, maybe even a third. Maybe you might be able to even make 3 candles. And like I suspected, this will not be a long burning candle, but I wouldn't be surprised if we got a couple hours out of it. You know, an hour maybe out of this candle. And if you use that same wax into like 3. So once the shit has hit the fan, you can pierce the darkness with your leftover cheese scraps. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll talk to you soon.